Welcome back to Afternoon Live. If you've been having trouble handling your child's difficult behavior, our next guest is here to help. We welcome back educator and family coach Amy Williams. Welcome back. It's great to see you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So we've done a whole series on challenging behaviors.
Right.
This is our fourth and final, right?
Right.
What are we diving into today?
We're going to dive into aggression.
Okay.
So not to be confused with assertive behavior or boisterous behavior, which
Okay.
can, somebody could end up being hurt if if you're playing wolf or you're playing dragons or something like that. But aggressive behavior is really specifics where there's an intention to hurt.
Okay.
I'm feeling a big feeling and I'm going to make physical contact with you, or I'm going to say something or do something socially because I want to hurt your feelings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are we talking about even little ones that can exhibit these kinds of behaviors?
Thank you for bringing that up,
Yeah.
because young children are still figuring out language and the power of language and their body and the power of their
Right.
body. They're still figuring out, if I do this to my friend and they cry, a young toddler's going to go, oh my gosh, cute. Cool, what's happening? And as children get older, they'll realize, oh, if I do that, that other person will feel it. So it's a little more complicated, and children get that with experience and maturity and those
Okay.
neural connections happening in the frontal lobe.
So what are some things that we as adults and caregivers should watch out for?
Well, whenever there's a physical contact, an act of what we might think is aggression, hitting, kicking, punching, pinching, scratching, even you can't come to my birthday party, which is
Right.
that,
Devastating.
Wow.
a big one.
It's a powerful one for
Yeah.
sure. And children are experimenting with that kind of social power and that kind of dynamic. That could be another conversation. But when that impact happens, emotionally or physically, we absolutely, as the important adults in their life, we have to step in and stop it, right?
Okay.
So the first thing that we can say, using as few words as possible, is, oh, I won't let you hit.
Okay.
Different than, we don't hit, right? Because the child's like, well, yeah, we do, because I just did.
Right.
On some
I'm
level.
totally guilty of using that we terminology because you're trying to
Right.
make us a collective group.
Right.
Yeah.
There's certainly a time to have that conversation, not in that emotionally charged
That
moment.
makes sense, though, the way you're saying it. Super simple, super direct.
Yes. Clear, true, confident, calm, certain. Yeah. So if we could show up that way as an adult in that situation, because they're having some sort of big emotional experience at that point.
Right.
So they're really at that point not able to have a conversation with us or to think logically about what did you think, what were you thinking? They just can't answer
Yeah.
that in that moment. Maybe later.
Sure.
For sure.
With all these challenging behaviors that we've talked about, we as adults tend to over-communicate and over-explain, and I can see my kids, their eyes rolling back, like, I'm overwhelmed, I'm not processing what you're saying right now.
Or they're thinking, how do I get out of here?
Yes. Okay, so you've made the direct, I won't let you hit. What comes next?
Well, then it may be that you have to go in and physically assist. And
Okay.
that's when I won't let you hit and you stand and get near the situation or even put your leg or your body in
Sure.
between. If the child is younger, you might forecast what you're going to do and take them out of the situation, and I'm going to pick you up. So it's connected to consent, where
Yeah.
you're letting them know, this is what I'm doing and I'm doing it.
Okay.
I'm not going to let you hit, and we're going here.
Okay.
So when you do that, it's important, and I had to learn this too, not to use crab claw hands,
Right.
but a different idea of spatula hands.
Okay.
So that you don't hurt the child unintentionally, of
Right.
course, and you don't get hurt either, right? I was just talking with someone in the back room about the alligator drop. When a child is having a meltdown or a tantrum and you go to grasp their hand
Oh,
and there's the
gosh.
drop to the ground,
Yeah.
and then your back is, ouch.
They just become a noodle at that point.
Yeah,
There's
a
nothing
40-pound
you can do.
noodle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so spatula hands, open hands.
Tuck in your thumbs. So imagine like a spatula if you were cooking.
Okay.
Right. Find a place on your child's body, like the place on their back in between their shoulder blades
Okay.
is a great place to push. Place your hand. You're
Yeah.
going to be clear and firm without being harsh yourself. So the importance of us staying regulated in that moment
Right.
is it's just important. It's hard.
It's hard.
Because we have all sorts of experiences too that come up when that happens.
Yeah.
when that is happening in front
But
of
they're
us.
just learning, and we're there to guide them, and we know better, so we have to
Right.
regulate ourselves as best as we can.
Right.
And then as cooler minds prevail, you can revisit the conversation with the kiddos.
Sure. It might be after they've had some food. I mean, what is it, a sensory thing that
Right.
led them to the meltdown? We've talked about the difference between a tantrum and a meltdown. And certainly during a meltdown, they can't process information
Yeah.
until later. And then it might be over dinner. You know, I was thinking about, and wow, you got really angry, or you were really disappointed, or, you know, just start the conversation by narrating what you might think their inner perspective might have been in that moment. Yeah, they took your truck, and
Yeah.
you're really mad about that, or they didn't invite you to that party, and that's really disappointing.
Yeah.
I get, with sincerity, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because it is important to them.
Yeah, those are the biggest things happening in their world at that moment.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And you have some great resources in your book that help with this as well.
Sure. I do have. Wow, that's a big emotion. Is one that a lot of teachers read. I have read it a lot in classrooms, and it helps children and adults practice what to do when those big emotions come up. When you're feeling really frustrated, or really angry, or really excited, even.
Yes.
Right.
So many feelings, and they're all so big.
many.
Hey, great to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by.
My pleasure. Anytime.
We'll have more information about Amy, including where you can find her book, on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.